Hey, I'm Cecil Blade,
I'm Spider.
and welcome to a new show called Button Mashing.
Yes, we will do reviews for video games.
Off to a smashing start. Dun, dun. Anyhow, we're going to start off with, I actually think, a very educational show, because we actually got someone who plays and owns this game, and someone who's actually currently starting to invest in it. What we're talking about is Disney's Infinity.
As you can see right here, Disney Infinity. This is the 2.0 edition for the Xbox One. I got super excited when I heard this was coming out because the 2.0 edition introduces the Marvel superheroes. Since Disney now owns Marvel, we get Marvel Worlds. Yay! They say that it's Disney's version of Skylanders, where you get to pick and play with different characters. You have to buy your little figures that you got here to use as your characters in the world. And it spans across a few different Marvel properties. For this, you have Avengers. You can see the Iron Man here, Spider-Man right here, and then you got Guardians of the Galaxy. So I have Rocket and Groot sitting here for that.
Now, I mean, Marvel obviously made your interest into Disney Infinity.
Oh yeah, like collector
Absolutely.
figures for Marvel characters. Like I've been a Marvel guy forever, so this is like awesome, cool. I get to
So, I mean, my particular interest going into it, I don't have a particular interest myself personally into the game. However, being the parent of a 4-year-old, when you walk into a toy store or a Wally World or a Target, and when you walk through said video game aisle and all this child does is pull the figures off the peg and put them on the pad, you start to realize that maybe this is a potential video game for said child.
yeah.
So, from a parent's perspective, I have already started investing in this game, and I'm using the term investing now after a conversation I've had briefly with Spider.
Yeah.
So, here's my perspective, and I think we ought to go at this since you've had a play with it. Okay.
Yeah, I have played through every single Marvel playset. I own every Marvel figure. So I've pretty much invested as heavily as you can into Disney Infinity Marvel version.
Exactly. Now, of course, we're going to start out and say that obviously this game is targeted towards the children.
Yes, it is aimed at a younger audience. It's an E-rated game made mostly for children to play. It's a simple kind of platformer style. I mean, the combat system's pretty button mashy. You know, your attack button is Y, and you pretty much just to do any of their combos repeatedly hit Y.
Nice.
Well, on the Xbox at least.
Well, very simplistic for smaller children.
Single attack button. You have a special. You have a ranged attack button, and then you also have a special that you can do.
Okay.
And that's the extent of the attacks. There's 3 buttons to do attacking. There's a jump button and a block button.
Okay, so Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Very simple.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna approach this. So we're purchasing this for. Excuse me. Let me do this correctly. Santa Claus is acquiring this gift. Okay. So Santa Claus's elves had a lot of research into doing with this. So under my assumption, and I've done reading from Disney's site, I've gone to some major retailers and looked at all the packaging and everything. Mm-hmm. And my assumption is, you know, I just realized they had 2.0 not too long ago. Obviously, in my world, being a techie, I automatically assume 2.0 means, hey, these 2.0 characters, which I'm assuming Marvel is.
Yes.
Okay. Works only on 2.0. Now, if I got a 1.0, assuming Rocket Raccoon is a 1.0 character, which he's not, but for sake of argument, that I can use 1.0 character in 2.0 stuff. I could use all 1.0 stuff in 2.0 stuff. But that's not necessarily true, is it?
Not entirely. You can use your 1.0 figures in the 2.0 toy box, which is their world building part of the game. There are downloadable levels, and there's some of the things like you have this little hexagonal disc here. Got in my hand. It's got a picture of Ronan the Accuser on it. To do toy box style missions. And they're very simple, kind of run through a level, flip some switches type of things. And then you can build your own worlds in there, and you're allowed to use any figures inside the toy box.
Now, okay, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
So, in a typical playset, because Santa Claus just acquired Jack Skeleton and Princess Anna and Queen Elsa, and stuff a typical 4-year-old little girl would want Santa to bring her. Yes, Jack Skeleton is on that list. Anyhow, I'd assume we got this arrangement.
Yep.
And she could grab said characters, put them on the pad, and no matter what we had loaded, would be able to play.
Not true. Unfortunately, the big difference between Skylanders and Infinity, Skylanders, you have just your teleport pad. It's one circular pad. You put your figure on it, and you play in the Skylanders world.
I've played Skylanders. I thought it was actually kind of a great concept.
And that's what I went into this thinking, that it was going to be the same style. However, Infinity uses what they call playsets. Instead of making you buy a game disc, which gives you a story and a playthrough that way, you get a playset piece. And it's this little hexagonal-based thing, and depending on which playset it is, it has a different type of symbol. The one I'm holding here is the Avengers Tower. For Marvel, there's also a Spider-Man one that looks like the little symbol on his back. And Guardians, it's the Milano spaceship. And that is your game. That's your game setting. That is your actual story, your missions, and things like that. You are restricted based on your playset as to which figures you're allowed to use. So for the Avengers playset, I can only use Avengers characters, and there are 2 crossover characters that if I can collect 10 coins inside the level, I can then use the crossover character. And for Avengers, you get Rocket, and you also get Nova, are the 2 crossover characters that can only be used once you unlock.
So I can't use Queen Elsa.
You cannot use Elsa.
I cannot use.
You can't use Spider-Man,
which is a Marvel character, which you think as 2.0 would be able to cross over.
Particularly because the Avengers Tower is in New York City, which is where Spider-Man is based out of. And I'll bring this up now since we're talking about playsets. In the Spider-Man playset, while you're web swinging over the city, you can see the Avengers Tower.
Really?
You can actually see the tower in the other playset, yet cannot use those figures in that playset. Nor can you go from the Spider-Man set into the Avengers set. You get kicked out. You basically hit like an invisible wall and are forced back into your level.
Well, to go back into the Marvel world, isn't that a true story? Because Spider-Man's not a part of the Avengers.
Spider-Man is an Avenger. Well, was an Avenger.
At one point.
Was until the Superior Spider-Man thing where Doc Ock brain swapped into Spider-Man's body, but that's too much to get into. We're talking about the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he lost his Avenger card recently, but Spider-Man generally is an Avenger. So yeah, that's been the big disappointment. I got really excited thinking, hey, cool, I can play with all these Marvel characters, and play it together, just run through the world and use whoever I want. And switch out if I feel like it, or if I need a certain ability, like Iron Man can fly. Spider-Man can't fly, so maybe he can't reach something that Iron Man can. Which there are things in the game that are like that. To get to certain parts, you need to have a certain skill, whether it's a super jump, wall crawling, web swinging, or just be super strong.
Yeah.
And you need to do that, which is also the incentive to get the different characters as well.
Well, I mean, let me tell you the general idea. Of course, our daughter is 4, and the general idea is I'd probably be the one playing the game.
And she'd watch you.
Oh, she would be
picking who you got to play with.
Exactly. She'd be swapping characters at will. But this doesn't sound like she can do that.
You can to a certain degree.
Yeah, but if they're not in that world,
if you're not in that world, then you can't. If you're playing inside the toy box, then you can. If you're playing in a playset, then you can only use what's in there. So if you had the Frozen playset, you could switch between Anna and Elsa and whichever other characters might be available for that playset. But if you were playing in, say, the Cars playset, you can't use Anna or Elsa.
Wow.
You can only use the Cars characters.
I hate to say that. I like Disney, and it's very attractive to the kids because of all the characters.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for all the to be able to play with all the characters, you either need to use the toy box mode, which might be fine for kids because it's very mission light. It's not, you don't have to go and talk to a mission giver who sends you out on a thing. You kind of just run through stages and fight things. Which, I mean, for kids, probably fine. As an adult, or as somebody who's older, to play it, you want a story. You want to have missions. You want to have things to do, not just run and smash.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it falls short to me, because even the missions that you get kind of are like the worst part of MMOs, where you find a quest giver and they're like, "Oh, I need you to go fight symbiotes that are attacking shield agents. It's really nearby." And then you find out that it's on the complete other side of the city.
Nice.
So, and then again, that comes with switching characters. My most recent playthrough, I've been using Iron Fist mostly, who's a martial artist type character. So he can't fly. He can't web swing. He can't wall crawl. He has a super jump, but super jump is basically a double jump. Not like I can super jump onto a building. So I have to find a vehicle station, spawn a vehicle, get into vehicle, go to where my quest point is, do that quest, and then
go all the way back.
The only good thing, the only good thing is that you don't have to return.
Okay.
All the time. Sometimes, as soon as you're done the mission, congratulations, mission done. Here's your experience. Yay. Other times, there's one where you actually have to go and retrieve shield agents and bring them back to the quest giver, and all of them are really far away. And when you're carrying things, you move really slowly.
Oh, man.
And it doesn't matter if you're flying or if you're walking. You still move really slowly. So you can pick somebody up and fly into the air, and then you just fly really slowly towards where the quest giver is. Oh. Or walk really slowly while carrying them over your head like this, regardless of your character's strength, mind you. So even if I'm playing as Thor, who's super strong, I'm still going to run really slowly carrying a human over my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't get it. So this is a playset or sandbox. That
is a toy box.
This is toy box is what they're calling it. So this is your toy box.
That is for the Escape from the Klin mission.
So I can literally put that on the pad.
Yes.
Okay. Put Rocket Raccoon, put Elsa, put Jack, put McQueen, put whoever I want, and they'll all fire off in that box.
They can. You can only put 2 figures at a time.
I understand.
But yes, they will all work in the toy box missions.
Okay, so how hard is it to cross them over to the other play sets?
I would imagine that it wouldn't be difficult at all.
They're already preloaded into the game disc.
Yes.
So what are you doing, Disney? Because you're going to make an irate 4-year-old when she can't cross between Jack and Elsa. And let me tell you, I don't think there's a playset that's going to allow that other than the toy box.
The toy box is going to be the only thing that does that, because I believe the crossover elements are new to the Marvel thing. And that's the idea of, in comic books, you will have crossover issues where, this week on, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, comes to visit type thing. So the crossover concept is a comic book concept. As far as I know, they don't have that in the previous versions of Disney Infinity, but I didn't play the previous versions. I'm not a huge Disney person. And that disappointed me too, because like you said, with not being able to use like Jack Skellington, there are some Disney characters that I really like. Like I would have gone out and bought Nightmare Before Christmas figures to use with my Disney Infinity, but I can't. I mean, heck, even the Incredibles stuff.
Yeah,
I might have picked up them because they're superheroes.
Yeah.
they would work perfectly in the Marvel world. Or even the Big Hero 6 figures that are coming out, which are considered to be Disney original characters, are actually Marvel comic characters, but they can't be used in the Marvel worlds. So I can't use them either, and I was planning on getting them. They are releasing additional figures that tie into certain worlds. Like there's a few villains that are coming out and a couple of new heroes. But at the same time, why? Like, why do I need them? Am I going to get more admission?
Well, okay,
like,
so
sometimes there's like an extra mission or two tied to a figure, but not enough
to justify it. Now, how much does a figure go for independently?
Depending on your retailer, they range between $13 and $15.
Perfect.
Your Target or Walmart are going to sell them for like 13 or 14. Your GameStop is going to be 15. The one thing I will say with this, do not go to GameStop for these. GameStop's prices are higher than every other retailer.
I have noticed that. I was in a GameStop last week, and their prices are ridiculous.
The MSRP on these, I think, is set at $13.99 for the figures. The play sets is $34.99. GameStop charges $5 more for their play sets and $1 more for each of their figures. Unfortunately, there was just a sale where there was buy two get one free at Target for the figures.
Well, I will tell you
which was kind of nice. I was able to pick up the last few figures I needed, or I didn't have, and I only did that because of the sale.
Well, I will tell you one thing. We actually picked up our Infinity set, brand new, still in the wrap, from eBay. Because eBay stores had it cheaper, and since Amazon has decided to open a distribution center and fully operation it in Maryland.
eBay or Amazon?
No, eBay. Amazon did.
Okay, you said eBay.
Well, no, we purchased from eBay.
Oh, okay.
Because Amazon's district center is functional now.
Oh, so you get taxed
now
on
we're
Amazon.
Getting taxed on stuff. Unless I order something obscure out of a different warehouse. Which is not hard for me to do. But we end up getting incredible deals on eBay. The eBay stores for these are really reasonable. They're actually beating Amazon.
Yeah. Well, and for the older stuff, the things that have been out a while, there's places that have a back stock of them, that have a lot of the original starter sets and a lot of the original, the Gen 1 figures, like or the 1.0 figures. Yeah. So places will be willing to sell them on the cheap or a little bit, or less than what they normally retail for. Now, there's been a generally negative tone through most of this so far with what you can and can't do. I will say on a positive note, the gameplay is actually really good. They make the characters feel like the characters.
Well, that's good.
This is probably the best web swinging I've played in a Spider-Man game, and I'm a Spider-Man fanboy. Like, I will admit that wholeheartedly. I've got Spider-Man tattoos.
I thought the best web slinging was Maximum Carnage.
That was awful. No, like the physics of it, the way Spider-Man swings on the webs, you gain speed on the down, you lose it on the up. When you let go of the web, he kind of like tumble falls through the air and like flips around and stuff. You can web swing as Venom too, and it feels really good. Like it plays like you want it to. The controls for flying are really good. For any of the characters that can fly, whether it's Nova or Iron Man or Thor, like the flying's really good in the game too. The controls for that are awesome. Like you jump, you like hold down your jump button and you take off into the air, and you can hover and like move in your hover, but then you can also like hold down like a trigger and fly like at full speed and like rocket yourself through. The flying's really good. Like when you have the range-based characters like Rocket uses guns, he's not made to get up close and personal. You power up his guns and he's good at fighting from a distance. Having your enemies close on you, you have ways to knock them back. They make it so that you're balanced no matter who you're playing. The balance in combat is great. There's so many things they did right with this game, and there's a couple of problems that really hurt the whole experience. And I think that's what's the most painful about it. There are so many good aspects of this. It's actually very fun to play. But there's things that just kill it. That not being able to use all your characters in different settings and not,
Yeah, I'm right there with you. If you say the gameplay's great, they got the character base, they got They got the cult following. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and the worlds look nice. The cities are awesome. Like playing in New York.
I mean,
With this, it's great. Like you have like the Empire State Building is there. Like you have recognizable landmarks. You can go to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that kills me is, if you had to pick between Skylanders and Infinity, which is what most parents are facing right now, let's face that. Okay.
The only reason to get Infinity is character recognition.
Mm-hmm. And that's what most of the kids want, because none of the young kids understand the Spyro world.
Well, as Skylander has been around now for a couple of years, the longer that's out, the more recognizable those characters become, and the less of a market Disney's going to have on this.
Well, my thing is, they're $15 a piece.
Yeah, it's $14 for a DLC character that you can only use in certain situations.
If you're going to make the investment like this, and we've all done this. I mean, I could sit here and tell you I've made a significant investment into Rock Band. Not exactly the same, but you got to buy the instruments. You got to buy
the
all the downloads, songs, and stuff like that. If you're going to make an investment in a game, you got to make sure it's
worth the investment.
The replay value. And
that's the thing. There's not even a new game plus. Like, if you beat it, you beat it. Congratulations, you're done.
Yeah,
like,
I don't see how this works.
If you want to start a new game, you have it's like Pokemon, where you have to delete all of your previous data to start a new game.
Oh, I don't like that either.
I mean, you don't lose your characters. All of your character information,
data.
Your leveling, your skill builds are saved to the figure, which is the big market on these games.
Mm-hmm.
So I can take my Spider-Man and come over to your house if you have Disney Infinity, and I can plop my Spider-Man down.
Doesn't matter the system.
No, it doesn't matter the system. The figures are universal, and I can play my Spider-Man built the way I like him in your game, as long as you have the right playset, where we're playing in the toy box. And that's kind of cool. It's your save, your character that you can play with your buddy, and that's the big market, I guess, on it.
So, okay. Well, from a parent's perspective, you definitely have me second guessing it. From a gamer, if you say some of the best web slinging, the best flying, the best control, the best gameplay, that intrigues me because, one, I've known you for years.
Yes.
Okay. Two, I understand your quirks.
Yes.
When it comes to video games. So, coming from you, that's high praise.
Yes. Again, like I said, that's what gets me so much. And there are so many things that were done right with this game. For those couple of little things that they did wrong to just completely spoil that, it is painful to me.
Okay, so let's answer the question. Given the chance, would you, knowing what you know now, still purchase the game? Would you still invest what you have into it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would not invest. I like I said, I have all of the Marvel figures. I probably would still pick up a couple of figures just to have as collector items. Like, I collect Spider-Man stuff. I collect Venom stuff. I probably would still have bought those.
So you'd have probably purchased the figures just on the fact of being collectors.
Oh, yeah, as a collector's item. Like, the style's neat because they have their own little design style to them. I would get the figures just for the way they look and as collector items.
Not the pad,
not. I wouldn't invest in the whole thing. No, it's just for what gameplay I got out of it. Unless they're planning on doing something to make it better, to give you more crossover. And I don't know if this is if this is feedback they've heard before, because they might not have had an older crowd playing the game previously. If this is an issue that they didn't know about in 1.0.
Well, I mean, but this is the whole thing from a parent's perspective. When you're looking to choose between the two, you know what I mean? From a gaming parent's perspective, this does not seem like a sound choice.
No. You're much better off doing Skylanders. You really are. And the other issue that I've had with this, the load times are absolutely atrocious.
Even on an Xbox One?
Even on an Xbox One, to start the game I actually have enough time to like get up, walk away from my console, get like food, drink, come back, and it might be done loading the level.
Wow, we're PlayStation 1 turf.
It is, the load times are awful. And even switching characters, you go through this awful lag time between a character going out and a character coming in, where you just see like this blank silhouette of a character waiting for your character to load in and the rest of the world functioning around it, which is awkward, especially like in combat. If you have a character get like defeated, you have to slowly wait for it to load your new character in. And I don't understand why.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
So that's the other big issue with the game, is the really long load times.
Okay then. Well, that's I'm disappointed, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I'm disappointed myself because I didn't hear too much about it previously, and I went hardcore.
You know, that's something that you got to go and you got to ask Disney. Hey, are you intentionally marketing it that way?
And I've done that, to be honest. I've actually gone to like their Facebook page and to their message boards and have made posts about it and said, hey, you know, are we going to get more crossover? Are we going to get more content for our play sets? Because I'm out of missions. I'm done. I have nothing else to do.
You have an substantial amount of money invested in this right now.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent less time to get through everything, including buying the additional play sets, than I do on like a regular video game that I would buy. And I've invested all of this money into it. And I really think I should get more for the money that I have to pay.
I completely agree with you. I actually might be thinking about returning said starter set, if this is going to be the trouble with it.
And I have a feeling that it's going to be. It's going to stick like that. I mean, I have the stuff now. I'm going to hold on to it. At some point, I can, like I said, I can bring it over and you can sit down with you and we can play it. And
I think we need to have a free play.
And you can see,
follow up with this.
Yeah, a free play to follow up. You can see what the mechanics are like, what the game looks like. And if after playing it you change your mind, so be it.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I can honestly recommend to somebody. It's for the investment. It's not. You don't get enough out of it. Despite the upsides.
Yeah, that's definitely an eye opener because I mean it's just the amazing amount of money.
Yes.
That's going to go into it.
Yes, and that's the bigger killer.
All right, well, thank you for your insight, sir.
You're welcome.
From my perspective, I can tell you right now, I'm really thinking about going to Skylanders for my little one because that's all she's going to want to do is swap in and out characters.
And as far as I know, all of the Skylanders figures are compatible with each version of the game.
That's what we were going to go with Disney because all the movies she watches.
Yep.
She even knows who Iron Man is, who Spider-Man is. She doesn't know Guardians yet.
Yeah.
But
and that's fine.
But I mean that's I can't soundly do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. One last thing I want to throw in about this. For the Marvel side of it, huge lack of female characters.
Oh, really?
For playables, you only have Gamora and Black Widow. But simultaneously, you have Captain Marvel, White Tiger, Sif, and blank.
Oh, that's an interesting character.
Captain Marvel, White Tiger, Wasp. And Sif as quest givers. So they have the character animations fully in there. I think they could have varied up their groups a little bit and given you some more female playable characters.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's in 2.1.
I don't know. I mean, the only expansion characters I know they have coming out, Green Goblin,
okay.
Loki, Ronan,
okay,
the Accuser,
yeah.
Yondu, and Falcon. So you have 2 more characters for Guardians, 2 more characters for Avengers, and 1 more character for Spider-Man. Because they will also only function in their playsets.
See, that right there, if it wasn't for this, that's the turnoff.
This is the killer. This right here, this playset piece is what ruins this game. So much potential lost because of that.
That right there.
So,
wow.
I mean,
Yeah, because
we've been kind of going on a bit about this, but there's a lot of information to portray if you're considering buying this as a game.
I think this is really because it's a huge push this holiday season for this.
Absolutely is, which is why I pre-ordered as much as I did, because I know it can be hard to get your hands on some of these figures.
Yeah, but I mean, with parents trying to invest, this is probably a good investment video for all young parents.
Yeah, this
is not going to be wise.
Yeah, I would say no to Infinity if you have the option.
All right, well, by all means check us out, theninjalegion.com, any of our social pages, Facebook / The Ninja Legion, Google / The Ninja Legion, YouTube /
The Ninja Legion.
Subscribe. This here or that there, whichever one.
And if you have any other questions about the game, gameplay, mechanics, anything like that, feel free to post them below, and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. If you have a different experience and maybe I'm missing something, let me know as well. If there's something I can go into the game and do and find that wasn't there before that makes this a better experience, by all means, I'd like to know about it.
Yeah, drop us a line. There's a contact form on our website. It's real easy. Let us know. We'll definitely get back to you. But keep on the lookout for our free play. We'll do a free play of Infinity just to give it a hands-on experience so you guys can see what's happening.
Yep.
All right. See you guys next time. This is Button Mashing.